Hello, software architecture lovers. Today we have Ben Evans with us. A big pleasure.
Thank you.
So GSAS is just around the corner, and today we have this chance to speak with Ben to know more about his talk that he will give in Global Software Architecture Summit, and just deep dive into his background and experience in software architecture. So Ben, hi. Thank you for making it today. And could you tell us more about your software architecture background, please?
Okay, so I have been interested in architecture generally, and specifically around performance and monitoring, which kind of has grown into the science of observability over the last few years. So I've been interested in those things for a very long time. One of my first big jobs was working at Morgan Stanley, where we were the bank who were asked to conduct Google's IPO for them. Mm-hmm. And this would have been in 2004 or thereabouts. And that was my first really big job in performance architecture, was being the lead performance engineer for that IPO, testing the systems which were used for Google's auction, where they sold off all their stock. And mm-hmm. that, I think, was probably there'd been a couple of other things in there that sort of tweaked my interest in performance, which is probably why I put myself forward for that project. But I think that was where it really started, and realizing that if you care about performance, if you care about the experience that your customers and your visitors get, then you need to think about architecture, and that needs to factor in that the two disciplines kind of go hand in hand together. Mm-hmm. So that's really my take on it. I mean, architecture is such a big subject that people come at it from different directions, but that's really mine, coming at it from the performance and the monitoring side of things.
Okay, thanks for sharing. And talking about this edition, so what will be your talk about?
So as I just previewed, I'm going to be talking about observability, mm-hmm. which is probably where I spend the majority, it is where I spend the majority of my time these days. And this really is a continuation of this theme of performance. Modern architectures have changed a great deal mm-hmm. in the last 20 years, even in the last 10 or 15 years. You know, when I started, when we were building the systems like the ones for Google's IPO, mm-hmm. they were quite static. You know, yes, we did releases, yes, we changed the software, but that happened on a 3-monthly basis. You know, some of the really quick systems would do a release every 6 weeks, right? Now that, of course, is just completely alien to a young developer who's starting out today, who lives in a world of continuous integration, continuous deployment, and the sort of GitOps style of things that has developed. Mm-hmm. The world has changed. And why is that important? Well, I believe that fundamentally, when your systems are only changing every 3 months, every 6 weeks, it allows the operational teams and the folk who look after those systems to develop quite a good intuition about the way the system works. Mm-hmm. So their understanding of it, of what needs to be monitored and what can go wrong, is quite well developed. Mm-hmm. In a world of continuous deployment and a world of GitOps, that's gone forever, because anything can change at any time. And in a larger system where there can be a dozen teams looking after a few hundred microservices, let's say, which is completely not strange, not uncommon at all in today's world, a team that you probably don't have much to do with suddenly deploys a new microservice that calls one of yours. They may not even bother to tell you. And all you know is that all of a sudden your poor service that wasn't doing very much mm-hmm. is now suddenly overwhelmed, and you don't know why. Mm-hmm. Because of that level of change, which can happen at any time and be quite significant, there is no stable equilibrium that the system has anymore. It's not stable for a period of time. There's just this constant churn of change. Mm-hmm. So you need a way of understanding architectures and diagnosing problems which is resilient in the face of that sort of change. And that is what observability fundamentally is. It mm-hmm. is the ability to understand and diagnose systems where in the face of that level of change, and where you need to start asking and answering questions that you had no idea were going to be important when you started investigating the strange behavior you see in your system. Mm-hmm.
And you wrote numerous books. You participate in many events. Mm-hmm. So why this year you decided to choose this topic?
I mean, it is fundamentally what I'm working on. It's the latest evolution of the work that I've done. Obviously, I've been very interested in deep Java performance for a long time. I founded JClarity with Martin Verberg in 2012. We sold it to Microsoft in 2019. But my journey into observability really started from there, from coming at, and I guess this also reflects the change in the way that software is developed and deployed now. When I was working with JClarity and writing books like Optimizing Java, that was focused on a single JVM. It was focused on how do we get the most out of this unit of computation that we have, this single process. And that's not the world that we live in anymore. As you change into a world of cloud, yes, you still need to know, under some circumstances, how to get the most out of a single JVM, if you're a JVM-based architecture, but it's not the only thing you need to know. And so, in fact, my latest book, the one that I'm working on right now, is, well, it's kind of badged as a second edition of Optimizing Java, but the focus has changed significantly. So the new title is Optimizing Cloud Native Java.
Okay.
So that shows you how the emphasis has shifted. The first edition came out at a time when you could still get away with writing a book about optimizing individual processes. Now we need to think about doing it more at a cloud and a cluster level. So I think that's why my focus really is on observability and related disciplines now, because it represents an evolution along with the megatrends that we see within the industry.
All right. And when are you publishing this book? Will it get published before GSAS?
I would love that to be the case, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's almost in early access, so it will certainly be in early access.
Okay.
And we might see if we can find a few preprints of a few chapters or something.
Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Well, anyways, we will have your books during the summit, and you can sign some of the copies.
Yes, we can do that.
Sounds great. Well, thank you very much for your time, Ben. It was really interesting to know what will you share with GSAS attendees. So see you in October.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.